Have you ever followed all the right advice? Be kind, be patient, be yourself, only to be ghosted, confused, or left wondering what went wrong. You gave your best, you stayed respectful, and still, she drifted. Here's the truth. No one told you. The dating game isn't broken, it's designed that way. And if you're still playing by the rules you were taught, you're playing to lose. What if I told you that everything you've been conditioned to believe about women, their logic, their desires, even what they say they want, is only half the story, the real truth? Women aren't drawn to words, they're drawn to energy, emotion, polarity, and behind every woman's polished exterior lies a set of emotional vulnerabilities, hidden triggers, unspoken needs, weaknesses, not in the demeaning sense, but in the deeply human sense that few men ever learn how to see, much less understand. In this video, we're not here to play nice. We're here to see clearly, to understand what actually attracts her, not to manipulate, but to connect with power, clarity, and confidence. This isn't for the faint of heart. This is for the man who's ready to stop guessing and start knowing. So if you're tired of confusion, if you're done being overlooked, and if you're ready to unlock what really moves her, then lean in. Because what you're about to hear might just flip your entire perspective, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Number 1. Unshakable masculinity, the quiet strength that makes her feel safe. Let's not sugarcoat it. Masculinity is misunderstood, criticized, and even attacked in today's world. But beneath all the noise, the truth still stands, and it always will. Women are biologically wired to be drawn to masculine energy, not because of culture, not because of conditioning, but because it speaks to something ancient in them, something instinctual, something deeper than words. But let's be clear, masculinity isn't about dominance. It's not about being loud, aggressive, or emotionally detached. It's not about controlling others. Real masculinity is strength with purpose. It's power under control. It's emotional clarity, spiritual backbone, and physical presence. What women really feel when they sense true masculinity. Masculine man doesn't just walk into a room and take up space. He commands it without saying a word. Why? Because he knows who he is. He doesn't flinch when challenged. He doesn't seek validation. And most importantly, he makes the people around him feel safe, especially the women. Women crave that kind of masculine energy, not because they're weak, but because it allows them to relax, to soften, to trust. They want a man who can protect, not just physically, but emotionally. A man who can lead with presence, make decisions with calm clarity, and hold steady when life gets hard. Masculinity is emotional mastery, not emotional suppression. In today's dating world, a lot of men are emotionally reactive. They lose their temper over small things. They spiral when they feel uncertain. They let a woman's mood dictate their own energy. And here's what happens when you do that. You lose her respect, and eventually her interest, because a woman doesn't want to feel like she has to be the rock in the relationship. She wants to know that you've already built your foundation. A truly masculine man knows how to feel, but he doesn't let those feelings control him. He doesn't deny emotions. He directs them. He doesn't get rattled when things don't go his way. He adjusts. He adapts. He leads. How to cultivate masculinity in a soft world? Want to develop true masculine energy? then start here. Take full responsibility for your life. Stop blaming your past, your parents, or the system. Everything changes the moment you own your choices. Be decisive. Masculine energy moves forward, it chooses. Don't overanalyze everything. Trust your gut and act. Face discomfort head on. When challenges arise, don't avoid them. Run toward them. You'll never build strength by staying in safety. Don't let your emotions lead you. Process them, feel them, but always respond from principle, not pressure. Why this matters in love and life. When a woman is around a man who is grounded in his masculinity, she can finally exhale. She no longer has to carry the emotional burden for both of you. She no longer needs to test your strength, because it's already clear. She feels protected, not in a possessive way, but in a way that says, I've got this, you're safe with me. And in today's world, where chaos is constant, and most men fold under pressure, you become rare. A man who is calm in conflict, steady in emotion, certain in his mission, and at peace with who he is. That's the kind of man women fall in love with, not because he demands it, but because his presence is undeniable. Number 2, the calm flame. Why quiet confidence changes. Everything, we hear it everywhere. Confidence is attractive, but what does that really mean? Because in today's loud, performance-driven world, confidence is often mistaken for arrogance. It's confused with showing off, being the loudest in the room, or pretending you have it all figured out. But true confidence, the kind that makes her lean in, not pull away, isn't loud at all. True confidence is quiet, still, grounded. It's the unshakable inner belief that you are enough exactly as you are. Not because you're perfect, not because everything in your life is polished, but because you know your value doesn't depend on anything or anyone outside of you. Confidence means emotional safety for her. Here's what most men miss. Women are naturally drawn to confident men, not because confidence is sexy on the surface, but because it signals safety. Think about it. Women carry insecurities too. They worry about their looks, their worth, whether they measure up. When a woman meets a man who's grounded in himself, who isn't looking to her to feel better about his life, it's like a breath of fresh air. She doesn't feel pressured to validate him. She doesn't have to guess where he stands. She feels safe in his presence and inspired by his self-assurance. That's why confident men stand out in a world of insecurity. Why most men get confidence wrong. Too many men base their confidence on things that can be taken away. Their job, their appearance, their status, their bank account, their ability to win women. But what happens when those things fall apart? What happens when the money dries up or someone more impressive walks into the room? If your confidence was never built from within, it will crumble. Real confidence isn't conditional. It's built in the dark. It's forged in silence. And it shows up strongest when everything around you is falling apart. How to build true internal confidence. So how do you develop the kind of confidence that lasts? It starts small. Set micro goals and follow through. Each time you do what you said you'd do, even when no one's watching, you prove to yourself that you can be trusted. Break promises to others less often. Break promises to yourself never. Stop outsourcing your worth. That promotion, that compliment, that text back, none of it defines you. Accept your imperfections and own them. Confidence doesn't mean pretending you have no flaws. It means being comfortable enough to show them and not flinch. Confidence isn't about being the best. It's about being at peace with who you are, even as you work to become more. Why? Women gravitate to men with inner confidence. Confidence at its core is stability. And in a world full of emotional volatility, that stability becomes magnetic. A confident man is not rattled by rejection. He doesn't crumble when things don't go his way. He doesn't need her to like him to like himself. And paradoxically, that's what makes her want him more. When you don't need her, you become the one she starts needing, because she knows this kind of man is rare. The kind who is comfortable in silence, the kind who doesn't chase approval, the kind who knows who he is with or without her validation. So don't aim to impress. Aim to be solid, not flashy, not flawless, just real, rooted and reliable, because the man who moves through life with quiet confidence doesn't have to chase anyone. They come to him. Number 3. Stand firm. Why being steadfast makes you irresistible in a world of inconsistency. Let's be brutally honest. Women today are constantly bombarded with attention. Their DMs are full. Compliments come from strangers. Dating apps offer an endless buffet of options. It's never been easier for a woman to be noticed, and never been harder for a man to truly stand out. So why do most men still fail in the dating game, despite all these tools, strategies, and content? Because they're inconsistent, flaky, unreliable. They say one thing and do another. They start strong and disappear the moment things require real effort, and women see it. They feel it. Here's the reality most men refuse to face. Women don't trust easily anymore. They've been conditioned by experience to expect men to vanish the moment something becomes inconvenient. After a few dates, after a few months, or right when it starts to feel real. And because of that, they walk through relationships with one foot out the door, just in case. That's why the man who is steadfast, the one who shows up and stays grounded, becomes unforgettable. Not because he's flashy, not because he says all the right things, but because he actually means them. What does it really mean to be steadfast? Being steadfast isn't about being inflexible or robotic. It's not about being a yes man either. It means you're anchored, reliable, solid. The man who says what he means and follows through, even when it's inconvenient, even when no one's watching. In a dating world full of indecision, games and excuses, you become the rare presence she can count on. You become a lighthouse in a sea of uncertainty. You don't ghost. You don't make promises you won't keep. You don't shift with every emotional wave. You are steady. And that steadiness, that masculine consistency, is more attractive than a six-pack, a sports car, or clever lines ever could be. How to start being that man? It starts small. If you say you're going to text her later, do it. If you promise to call at 7, be on the dot. If you say you're going to show up, don't just arrive, show up fully. Every time you follow through on your word, you're not just building her trust, you're building your own integrity. And when that integrity becomes your standard, women can feel it. It sets you apart instantly, not because you're doing more, but because you're doing what so many others can't. You show up as the man you said you were. Why this trait is so rare and so powerful. Most men today are reactive. They get excited quickly and quit even faster. They commit with their mouth, but not their character. But the man who is consistent in his actions, aligned in his words, and grounded in his values, That man becomes rare. And in a world that's speeding up, she's looking for someone who slows down and stands still. A man who isn't pulled by pressure or distracted by novelty. A man who doesn't flinch when things get messy. A man who keeps his promise, not just to her, but to himself. Because when you're that man, you don't need to compete for her attention. She sees you. She remembers you. She trusts you. And trust, more than charm or attraction, is what makes her fall. Number 4, the driven man. Why ambition makes you magnetic. Ambition is one of the most powerful and underrated traits a man can have, not just in business, not just in personal growth, but in how he moves through the world, with fire in his chest and vision in his eyes. In today's world, complacency is encouraged. People are praised for being comfortable, for taking it easy, for settling into a life that's good enough, but never great. And because of that, most men stop pushing, they stop stretching, they stop growing. But the ambitious man, he's different. He doesn't settle. He doesn't drift. He lives with direction. And that right there is what makes him magnetic. What ambition really looks like and what it doesn't. Ambition isn't about working 80-hour weeks or building a billion-dollar empire. It's not about being obsessed with status or chasing endless hustle. Ambition means you have a goal and the discipline to pursue it. It means you're not okay with staying where you are because you know you were made for more. Women don't need you to be famous or rich. They just want to feel that you're going somewhere and that you're serious about the path you've chosen. Ambition is attractive because it shows direction. It says, I have a life I'm building, with or without you. And that energy, it's powerful. It makes her feel like if she joins your world, she's stepping into something bigger than herself. Why most men get ambition? Wrong. A lot of guys talk about ambition. They say they're driven. They say they're going to do big things. But when it comes down to it, there's no action, no follow-through, no progress. And here's the truth. Ambition isn't something you declare. It's something you demonstrate. It shows in your habits, in how you spend your time, in how you treat your body, your mind, your work. Whether it's your career, your creativity, or your self-development, you prove your ambition by building, even if it's just one brick at a time. Ambition is about progress, not perfection. You don't need to be the best. You just need to be moving. Ambition means you're in pursuit of something better, something deeper, something higher. And that journey is what sets you apart from the men who are coasting. Start with simple, meaningful goals. Learn a new skill. Build your side hustle. Take your fitness seriously. Read, reflect, and challenge your thinking. These don't have to be grand or impressive. They just have to be real. And they have to push you just enough out of your comfort zone. Because every time you push forward, no matter how small the step, you send a message to the world. I don't settle, I evolve. And when a woman sees that, when she witnesses that hunger in you, she'll want to be part of the momentum. Why ambition pulls her toward you. Attraction isn't just physical, it's psychological, it's emotional. When you're ambitious, you radiate purpose. You make decisions faster. You lead with clarity. You create a sense of movement. And women want to move with you, not drag you forward. She wants to feel like she's part of something that's going somewhere. And when you're living with mission, she senses that security, that passion, that focus. It makes her feel safe, and it makes her feel inspired. Not because you made her your purpose, but because you already had one, and she's drawn. into the gravity of it. So don't talk about being driven. Show it, live it. Be it not for her, not for approval, but because you know, deep down, that the man you're meant to become is waiting on the other side of effort. And when you live like that, she'll want to come along for the ride. Number 5. Live with fire. Why passion makes you irresistible. There's a rare energy that instantly draws people in. It's not physical, it's not based on money or looks, and it's not something you can fake. It's passion, the fire in a man's eyes when he talks about something that matters to him. That spark, it's unforgettable. When a woman sees a man who is fully alive in his purpose, who lights up when he talks about what he loves, whether it's his business, his training, his art, or his craft, she feels something most men can't give her. She feels his soul, because passion isn't just energy, it's direction, it's identity. It tells her this man is going somewhere. He stands for something. He burns for something. True passion isn't performed, it's lived. The mistake most men make, they try to fake it. They pretend to be interested in things just to seem more impressive. But women see through that as instantly. You can't fake depth. You can't imitate conviction. You either have it or you don't. And when it's real, you don't need to sell it. She'll feel it. Passion is magnetic because it's authentic. When you're genuinely excited about something, not because it makes you look cool, but because it lights you up, you glow in a way that commands attention without effort. And that kind of man doesn't chase women. He attracts them without even trying. Why passion is more than a hobby. It's identity. Passion is a reflection of your values, your drive, and your aliveness. It tells the world, I'm not here to coast through life. I'm here to build, to create, to experience, and to leave something behind. That kind of energy doesn't just impress her, it inspires her, because here's what she's really thinking. If he brings that much fire to what he loves, imagine how he'll love me. That's the truth most men miss. Your passion isn't just about you. It creates space for others to want to join you on the ride. How to cultivate and express passion authentically. You don't need to have some flashy dream or a perfectly curated life. You just need to care deeply about something and pursue it like it matters. Maybe it's your career, maybe it's fitness, writing, music, design, coaching, business, or building a legacy. Whatever it is, own it, feed it, show up for it, and do it for yourself. Not to impress her, but because it's who you are. When a woman sees you fully immersed in your craft or purpose, she won't just respect you, she'll want to be part of that energy. She'll want to support it. She'll want to step into your world and feel like she's part of something real. Let your passion set the tone for everything else. A man who has no passion drifts through life. He loses himself in distraction. He becomes boring, passive, forgettable. But a man with passion moves differently. He doesn't waste time. He speaks with more depth. He connects with more intensity, and he lives with more clarity. That energy, it's rare, and that's why women are drawn to it, because it means you're not just existing, you're living. So find your fire, protect it, fuel it, and let it burn so brightly that it doesn't just light your path, it lights hers too, because when you're a man on fire with purpose, you don't need to chase. She'll want to stand beside the flame. Number 6, the social signal of desire. Why preselection makes you more attractive. There's a reason why some men seem to attract more women after they're already in a relationship, or when they're surrounded by other high-value women. It's not just a coincidence. It's a deep psychological phenomenon known as preselection, And once you understand it, you'll see why it changes the entire dynamic of how women perceive your value. Here's the simple truth. When women see that other women desire you, respect you, and enjoy being around you, it tells them you're worth looking at twice. They start to wonder, what is it about him that other women see? What do they know that I don't yet? And that curiosity, that pull to find out more about you, that's attraction taking root. Pre-selection is social proof at its most powerful. Think about it. In every other area of life, we value what others value. If a restaurant has a long line out the door, we assume the food is great. If a product is in high demand, we assume it must be worth the price. The same principle applies in dating, especially for women. When a woman sees you interacting confidently, naturally and effortlessly with other women, whether they're friends, colleagues, or romantic connections, it sends a clear message. You're socially intelligent, you're respected, you're desired, and more importantly, you're safe, because here's what's happening on a subconscious level. If other women trust you with their time, their conversation, and their energy, she feels safer to do the same. You're no longer just a stranger. You're a man who's already been vetted. Why this works and why it's not manipulative. Let's be clear, pre-selection doesn't mean using women as props or collecting attention for the sake of ego. It's not about faking social status or trying to manufacture interest. It's about living a full, socially engaged life where women are a natural part of your world, and you know how to move within that world with confidence and integrity, whether you're single or in a relationship. When you surround yourself with high-value women and treat them well, it elevates how others see you, not because you're trying to show off, but because you're showing that you already know how to relate to the feminine, and that's incredibly attractive. How to apply pre-selection authentically. This isn't about flirting with every woman in sight. It's about becoming a man who is comfortable around women, not just when he's trying to impress one. Start cultivating real, healthy friendships with women. Be the guy who listens without trying to impress. Be the man who respects boundaries and builds trust. Be someone who women enjoy being around because your presence adds value. When you become that man, your interactions will naturally reflect confidence, ease, and presence, all of which are signs of high social value. And when another woman sees you in that light, it triggers something powerful in her instincts. If other women choose him, maybe I should pay attention too. Why pre-selection doesn't just attract, it elevates. The goal here isn't to game the system. It's to understand a deeper truth about human psychology. Women are drawn to men who have already been chosen because it reduces uncertainty and raises desire. This is why men in relationships often get more attention, not because they're unavailable, but because their energy reflects something rare. A man who's already wanted, who's not chasing, who's already enough. That energy can't be faked. It can only be cultivated through how you show up, consistently, confidently, and consciously. So don't isolate yourself. Don't try to prove your worth from a distance. Instead, live a life where women, even platonically, want to be around you. Let your social world reflect your value, and let that silent, subtle proof do the work for you. Because when a woman sees that other women already choose you, she won't just notice, she'll wonder how soon she can choose you too. Number 7, the value of your silence. Why? Withholding attention makes her chase you. Let's get one thing straight. Women crave attention, but they don't value the kind that comes too easily. We live in an era of digital validation. A woman can open her phone at any moment and be flooded with likes, comments, compliments, and DMs from strangers she's never even met. In today's world, attention is cheap and it's everywhere. So when a man gives it away freely, without discernment or presence, she doesn't feel special. She feels bored, because when something is too accessible, it loses its value. And that's where most men get it wrong. They think more attention equals more attraction, more compliments, more emojis, more good morning texts. They flood her inbox, hoping she'll finally take notice, but it never works. Why? Because what's given too freely is never truly desired. The man who stands out is the one who doesn't chase when you don't instantly validate her, when you don't rush to reply, like, or praise her every move, when you remain calm, composed, and selective with your energy. She feels something she hasn't felt in a long time. Intrigue, she starts wondering, why isn't he chasing me like everyone else? What's different about him? Why do I feel the need to earn his attention? And that internal curiosity becomes powerful attraction, because now your attention has become a scarce resource. And in human psychology, scarcity creates value. This isn't a game, it's energy economics. Let's be clear, this isn't about being cold, manipulative, or emotionally unavailable. It's about recognizing the value of your energy and refusing to give it to someone who hasn't earned it. When you give out compliments like candy, like every other guy in her feed, she places you in the same category, forgettable. But when you pause, when you observe instead of rush, when you withhold just enough to stay grounded in your own worth, she feels the difference. Your silence becomes more meaningful than another man's praise. Your restraint becomes more attractive than his eagerness, because now she has to do something she's not used to doing. Work for your attention, and when she feels like she has to earn it, she'll value it. She'll chase it, she'll lean in, not because you manipulated her, but because you gave her something real, challenge, depth, respect for yourself. Stop giving away your power through constant validation. If you're constantly texting her, replying within seconds, liking every story, sending hearts and over-complimenting her, you're training her to see your attention as ordinary. It becomes white noise. And when she knows she can have your energy at any time, she stops wanting it. But when you step back, when you slow down, when you let her come to you, she starts to recalibrate her thinking. This man doesn't need me to validate him. He must be different, and I want to know why. That's where desire is born. Not from desperation, but from mystery and measured attention. Make your attention earned, not free. So how do you live this? Don't rush to text her back. Let it breathe. Don't give compliments until they're sincere and rare. Don't follow every post with a like. Let her notice the silence. Don't center your life around her validation. Build your world and let her enter it when she earns the space. When she realizes you're not easy to win over, she'll want to win you even more. Because here's the truth. The most attractive attention is the kind that feels earned, not expected. So protect your energy. Make your presence felt by not always being present, and let her discover what so few men are brave enough to be: unavailable for anything less than real. Number 8, the irresistible edge. Why women chase the man. They can't predict. The bad boy. He doesn't try. He doesn't explain. And yet, women are drawn to him again and again, like moths to a flame. But here's the truth that most people miss. It's not because he's a jerk. It's not because he's disrespectful or emotionally unavailable. It's because he embodies something that most men have forgotten how to live: mystery, unpredictability, emotional control. The bad boy doesn't follow rules designed to win approval. He doesn't apologize for who he is. He doesn't bend his identity to please a woman. And that's exactly what makes him so hard to resist. He doesn't revolve around her world because he already has his own. Why the bad boy energy triggers desire. Let's break this down. Most women don't consciously say, "I want to date a bad boy." But what they do want is a man they can't fully control, a man who surprises them, who keeps them on their toes, who knows who he is and doesn't flinch when challenged. And that's what the bad boy archetype provides. Not chaos, but emotional unpredictability. He creates a dance between tension and ease, between closeness and space. That rhythm, that push and pull, creates emotional high and low points that awaken desire. It's the thrill of the unknown, the electricity of wondering, where do I stand with him? And that very question keeps her engaged, not because he manipulates, but because he never hands over his power just to make her feel secure. You don't have to be a jerk to be that. Man, let's be clear. You don't need to mistreat anyone to access this kind of attraction. You just need to stop giving everything away too soon. Most men overshare, over-explain, overgive, all in the hope of making her comfortable or proving themselves, but that kills attraction. It leaves no space for curiosity, no space for wonder. The man who's magnetic leaves something behind the curtain. He lets her wonder where he is, what he's thinking, what drives him. He's emotionally available, but not emotionally dependent. He listens, but he doesn't over-respond. He's kind, but he's not overly accommodating. And when she's upset, he doesn't spiral, he stays centered. Emotional control is what truly separates him. Bad boys don't get pulled into emotional drama. They stay calm when others panic. They don't let a woman's emotions dictate their own. That's why they feel like solid ground, even when they're unpredictable. Emotional control isn't coldness. It's clarity. It's knowing when to hold space and when to walk away. It's knowing that her mood isn't yours to manage. It's being able to enjoy her happiness without being addicted to it, and to hold your frame even when she tests your boundaries. And yes, she will test you, not because she wants to push you away, but because she needs to feel that you're strong enough not to fold. How to embody the bad boy's power without the toxicity. Start with these truths. Don't always be available. Scarcity creates value. Keep parts of your life private. Mystery builds intrigue. Let your plans, your time, and your energy revolve around your mission, not her mood. When she gets emotional, don't match her energy. Anchor it with calm. Don't try to win her. Be the man she wants to win over. Because here's what separates the bad boy from the nice guy. The nice guy gives to get. The bad boy gives from overflow and walks away when it costs him self-respect. Be the man she can't predict, but always respects. The goal isn't to be distant. It's to be so in control of your own life and energy that she knows you'll never betray yourself to earn her attention. That makes you rare. That makes you magnetic. And that's what makes her fall. Not because you chased her, but because you never needed to. Number 9, lead the way. The quiet power of charismatic masculine leadership. There's something magnetic about a man who leads. He doesn't shout. He doesn't beg. He doesn't demand respect, and he earns it through quiet strength, clarity, and direction. And yes, women are naturally drawn to this kind of man, not because he dominates, but because he knows where he's going and invites her into a life worth following. This isn't about being a CEO or owning a company. It's about how you carry yourself in everyday moments, how you make decisions, how you handle pressure, how you guide conversations, initiate plans, and take ownership of outcomes. Because in a world full of men waiting to be told what to do, the man who leads becomes unforgettable. Leadership is not control, it's clarity and confidence. A true leader doesn't need to bark orders or act superior. Real leadership isn't loud, it's present. It shows up in your ability to walk into a room with calm confidence, to take initiative without hesitation, to guide without forcing. In relationships, leadership is about knowing your direction and inviting her to come along, without needing her to steer the ship. It's not about excluding her input, it's about not being dependent on it. A woman doesn't want to carry the weight of every decision. She wants to feel like the man beside her can take charge when needed, with confidence and grace. That makes her feel safe. It makes her feel seen. And it allows her to relax into her feminine because you're grounded enough in your masculine. Why charismatic leadership is so rare and so attractive. Charisma isn't about being the loudest guy in the room. It's the combination of authority and warmth, presence and poise, conviction and emotional intelligence. When a man leads with that kind of energy, when his words align with his actions and his confidence puts others at ease, people naturally want to follow. Women feel it instantly. They lean into it because it tells them he knows where he's going. And I want to be part of that journey. And that's the difference. You're not trying to impress her. You're living with purpose, and she wants to be near that energy. How to practice leadership in everyday moments. You don't need a grande stage. You don't need a title. You lead in the way you plan the evening without waiting for her to decide. You lead by guiding the conversation instead of asking, "So what do you want to talk about?" You lead by speaking with direction, not hesitation. You lead by taking initiative, whether it's where to eat, what to do, or how to move through conflict. When she sees that you're not afraid to take control of the moment without needing control over her, that's when her trust begins to build. That's when attraction deepens. That's when she begins to feel led, not because you pushed, but because you showed up with strength. Leading isn't about being perfect. It's about being grounded even when you don't have all the answers. Your willingness to step forward is what counts. It's what separates the man who waits for life to happen from the man who creates it. So the next time you're with a woman, don't hesitate. Take the lead. Guide the moment. Own your choices. Because when she feels that she can trust your direction, not just your charm, she'll follow you not out of pressure, but out of admiration. And that kind of connection isn't just attractive, it's lasting. Number 10, strength in stillness. Why emotional intelligence sets you apart from other men. Emotional intelligence is one of the most underrated and misunderstood qualities a man can possess. Ask most men what it means, and they'll tell you it's about being sensitive, or worse, being soft. But they couldn't be more wrong. True emotional intelligence isn't about being emotional. It's about being aware, present, and unshaken. It's the ability to read the emotional energy in a moment without being overwhelmed by it. It's knowing when to speak, when to listen, and when to simply hold space. It's the quiet discipline of feeling deeply without losing control. In a world of emotional chaos, the emotionally intelligent man becomes rare, and rare becomes irresistible. Women are emotional by nature, and they need a man who can handle it. Here's a truth many men never learn. When a woman shares her emotions, she doesn't always want a solution. She wants to feel understood. Most men rush to fix. They hear frustration and jump straight into advice. They mistake her venting for a request for help. But what she really wants is simple: to be seen, to be heard, to be felt, not solved. When you can sit in her storm without trying to change the weather, you offer her something rare, safety, and that's what builds deep emotional connection. Not strategy, not charm, but the strength to stay present when things get messy. Emotional intelligence is self-control in the face of chaos. This quality isn't just about understanding her. It starts with understanding yourself. Most men are ruled by their emotions without even realizing it. They react instead of respond. They lash out when challenged. They get defensive when misunderstood. They spiral when rejected. But the man who is emotionally intelligent, he observes his reactions instead of obeying them. He can feel anger without becoming it. He can hear hard truths without losing his cool. He can sit in discomfort and stay composed. That kind of control doesn't make you weak. It makes you dangerously attractive. How to practice emotional intelligence in your daily life. Start small, but be intentional. The next time she's upset, don't offer advice right away. Listen first. Reflect her emotions back to her. That sounds really frustrating, or I can see why that would hurt. Don't interrupt. Defend yourself or minimize what she's feeling. Let her finish, then ask, do you want me to just listen, or are you looking for advice? That one question alone shows more emotional maturity than most men ever display. And here's the irony. When she feels heard, she'll trust your input more, because you earned her respect before. You offered a solution. Why this trait makes you stand out. A man who can hold space for a woman's emotions without reacting, fixing, or shutting down immediately rises above 99% of men she's ever known. Because what you're really showing her is this: you can handle her fire without flinching. That creates emotional intimacy. It creates trust, and trust, not attraction, alone is what keeps her coming back. When she knows that you don't just care about how she looks, but how she feels, you stop being just another man. You become her man. So stop thinking emotional intelligence is soft. Start seeing it for what it really is: mastery, presence, power. Because the man who can stay calm in chaos, grounded in emotion, and fully aware of what's happening beneath the surface, that's the man who doesn't just attract women, he builds something that lasts. Become the man she feels and never forgets. Let's bring this full circle. This isn't about tricks. It's not about pickup lines, hacks, or how to impress her. It's about becoming the kind of man who doesn't need to be impressive, because he's already anchored in who he is. A man of presence, of purpose, of power. Not the loud kind, but the quiet kind that speaks without saying a word. The kind that she feels when you walk into the room. The kind that doesn't chase, because it already draws her in. The kind that doesn't need validation, because it lives in truth. What you've learned here isn't a formula. It's a framework for transformation. Each quality From emotional intelligence to ambition, from stillness to confidence, isn't something you use to win women. It's something you live, because it's who you are becoming. And the more you align with your core, your mission, your boundaries, your values, the more the right woman won't just want you. She'll feel safe with you. She'll respect you. She'll admire you. And yes, she'll fall in love with you. Not because of what you did, but because of who you are when you stop needing anything and start becoming everything you were always meant to be. So don't aim to impress. Aim to embody. Don't chase, attract, and don't ask, will she choose me? Ask instead, am I the kind of man who would choose myself? Because when you are, she will, and so will the rest of the world.